From finding well-preserved specimens for research to explaining bizarre reptile brumation phenomenon, here are 10 animals that we found frozen in ice. Number 10. Minnesota Iceman. There are so many versions of the truth about this entry that have confused me a lot. Apparently, the Minnesota Iceman is the frozen body of a large human-like ape, similar in appearance to Bigfoot. It has been called the missing link between modern-day humans and Neanderthals, and during the 60s and 70s, it went on an extensive tour around much of North America, being displayed in carnivals and other locations. The Minnesota Iceman interests quite a few people, especially cryptozoologists, the ones who study the unknown and mysterious animals. When the body was in the house of Frank Hansen, the caretaker of the body, 2 cryptozoologists were convinced that this was indeed a real dead body of a previously unknown missing link between humans and Neanderthals. Number 9. The woolly mammoth, or Yuka mammoth. This well-preserved body is about 39,000 years old and is of a female woolly mammoth, or you can call her the Yuka mammoth. No doubt, multiple specimens of well-preserved woolly mammoths have been discovered in the past, but this has been the most incredibly well-preserved remains to date. They were accidentally discovered in August 2010 in Yuka, which is actually a remote region of Siberia and belong to the 1.8-meter baby woolly mammoth. Experts say that the baby was 6 to 9 years old when it died, and scientists say that the carcass is almost 39,000 years old, and that it was killed by humans, since the remains show signs of having been cut open, and it is confirmed that this is the first woolly mammoth that had interaction with humans. This woolly mammoth has the most well-preserved brain, with the folds and blood vessels that were still intact. Scientists are seriously thinking of using its DNA to clone the creature back into life, as it is so well preserved. Number 8. Ötzi the Iceman. Once, 2 hikers named Erica and Helmut Simon were traveling when they stumbled upon a frozen body deep in the Ötzi Alps. They were startled to see that and decided to carry it with them. Little did they know at the time that it was this thing belonged to one of the oldest preserved corpses on the planet. That mummy was nicknamed Ötzi the Iceman and was unearthed in 1991 when it was found frozen in the Ötzi Alps. According to initial research reports, the man's body dates back to 3000 BC, which is kind of a record. The autopsy report says that Ötzi the Iceman was slain severely after being speared in the head with arrows and smashed in the skull multiple times with a stone. What a brutal way of killing someone! Number 7. Cat frozen in ice. No matter how heart-wrenching the previous entry was, this one is definitely going to restore your faith in humanity. A Russian rescued a cat who was frozen into the ice at negative 35 degrees Celsius, or negative 26 Fahrenheit, whatever scale you understand, from the south, and soon found new owners. Number 6. 2 moose frozen to death. Moose are incredible animals. They often fight each other over females or territories that they hope are full of females. You know, life comes once. You should enjoy it to the fullest. Well, anyhow, 2 moose were found frozen in ice in Alaska while their antlers were intertwined. Undoubtedly, they were fighting each other, and I bet it was because of the right to mate with a particular female. The match likely ended with one of them piercing the other's skull with its antlers stuck inside it, which resulted in a deadlock. Looks like these 2 titans paid a relatively high price over a fight for a lady or territory. Number 5. Perfectly preserved woman. This woman trapped in ice may not appear to be very frightening at first glance, but her tale may send shivers down your spine. This Incan mummy was discovered almost 20,000 feet above sea level on the rim of a volcano, surrounded by what was likely her children. It was reported that she was so perfectly preserved that there was still lice in her hair. After studying her body, it was determined that her tribe sacrificed her to the volcano owing to her numerous diseases, including tuberculosis. Since her body was well preserved, doctors were able to infer her various diseases, which provided a window to the period in which she lived. It is said that the specimen is so well preserved that the visitors whisper around the mummy in fear of not waking her up. Number 4. 18 alligators. In January of 2019, North Carolina recorded a temperature so low that even the lakes and the small ponds were frozen over last time. Therefore, authorities in the swamp park in Ocean Isle Beach became worried about their 18 American alligators that were kept in the park, and their worry was understandable. So, they went in to check those alligators, where they became pleasantly surprised by seeing the snout of those 18 alligators poking out of the frozen ice block, and their whole bodies were under the ice. The best part? All of them were alive! As soon as the frozen ice block thawed, those gators went about their business like nothing happened. Isn't that just remarkable? Number 3. 40,000-year-old horse. If you are digging a mine that is about 30 feet below the surface of a cave and you stumble upon the carcass of a horse, consider yourself lucky. Once in 1968, in the Indigirka River in Siberia, some gold miners were digging tunnels and they accidentally found something worth surprisingly more that was sticking through the roof of one of their tunnels. Those were the 2 legs and a ponytail of a 40,000-year-old horse. Archaeologists and authorities were called in from the St. Petersburg Zoological Institute for help to retrieve the entire creature. They did their job quite efficiently, as they brilliantly managed to take out the whole dead body except for its head. The animal was a Przewalski horse, which could only be found in Mongolia. Well, that's about a 40,000-year-old horse that was frozen to death. But I've got another very convincing clip of 11 horses that fell into a lake in Russia. They fell through the ice in the frozen lake, but fortunately, a group of nearby farmers ran to the horses' aid, using everything they could to pull the horses out. In the end, they were all saved. Thank God.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works.
And now, let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. This image was sent to us by one of our subscribers. Similarly, if you ever wish to know more about an image you come across, just send it on over to us. Who knows? We might even feature it in one of our videos. The subscriber's pick. This picture actually belongs somewhere in Germany. Again, there's a whole story behind it. Once, a poor fox was casually walking on one of the frozen lakes, and it wasn't completely frozen, so the poor fox fell into the frigid water. Because the temperature was so low on that day, the water around the fox quickly froze into solid form. After some days, God knows how many, a local hunter named Franz Stell found this foxicle, and for him, it was a totally impossible task to determine when this poor buddy fell into the lake. The very next day, Franz came back at the spot with a chainsaw and cut the fox out of that ice block. Then, he put that frozen fox in front of his small hotel as a warning to everyone. Number 1. Turtle beneath the ice. Do you know that, like alligators, turtles can also survive being frozen in ice? Once, in a wooded area near Marvell in Phillips County, Arkansas, a group of duck hunters saw something moving under a frozen lake, and they were surprised to see it was a huge alligator snapping turtle under the ice. The turtle was about 2.5 to 3 feet long. In fact, he took a selfie with the frozen creature. If you're wondering how turtles can survive under the ice, well, let me clear your doubts. Their metabolism becomes slow in cold water, and as their main source of oxygen is through their butt, for them, it's easy to survive under the water for almost 100 days. I know, you might be thinking that it's quite an odd way to breathe, but who cares as long as it works, right? By the way, they look amazing swimming under the water, and the phenomenon of surviving freezing cold water is called reptile brumation. Cool, right? Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.